Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'll show you how I used my smart home system to stop my dog from peeing the floors. So, I got a big problem. And it's this one. For 1.5 years, my dog named Una, the one you just saw before, has been peeing the floors. And it's driving me completely crazy. I have tried every trick in the book to stop her from doing so. We've been to doggy training, we've read books, we've tried numerous things, and so far nothing has helped. So, like every tech guy, I turned to home automation to solve the problem. In my case, I had a big, moist, smelling problem being that my dog peed the floors. And basically she gives no warning, she doesn't bath, she might give you a look and then go out and pee the floor, but that's also it. So basically I needed a way to figure out when my dog is alone in the hallway, because the only time my dog is alone in the hallway is when it's going to pee or poop out there. Annoying as this behavior is, it is however rather consistent. It is always in the same spot, and thereby also something that I can resolve with home automation. As my dog is rather small, I found out that I could solve the issue by actually using 2 motion sensors and a door sensor. So I went out and purchased 2 Aquara motion sensors and also a door sensor. I did however find out that the Aquara motion sensors are rather sensitive, and for one of them it's okay, but for the other it's important that I don't get false alarms. So I actually switched one of the Aquara motion sensors out and replaced it with a Hue motion sensor, which is a lot more consistent in the way it reports. And to jump straight into how I resolved this problem using home automation, I took the 2 motion sensors. One I placed above the level of the dog, pointing upwards, so it would only detect human beings but not the dog, as it would be below the level of the actual sensor. The other one I placed at foot level, so that it would always detect the dog, but it would of course also detect human beings out there. This way, when a human being is in the hallway, both sensors would trigger. And I would know that, okay, it's not because my dog is about to pee, it's just because, a human being is walking around out there. However, if only one sensor, and that's the sensor at the foot level, is triggered, I would know that my dog is out there, and I would know that it is alone. And I would also then know that something is about to go down in an unpleasant way. And I would be able to react to it. And now to the more technical side, how did I actually set it up? Well, let me show you. I'm using a combination of Node-RED and Home Assistant to have this achieved, and I'm running it all on a Raspberry Pi. I have tons of other home automations that I'm really eager to show you, and I have some pretty cool things actually. So please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell button to receive notifications. You will then be able to get notified once a new video comes up, and maybe be inspired in a way to actually customize or even further develop your own home automation system. So let's look at the mechanics behind it. And I'll make sure to post this flow in the description so that you'll be able to copy it directly into Node-RED yourself. So this is actually the system that I have set up. It's in Node-RED. And as you can see, firstly here we have the 2 motion detectors. We have the one pointing upwards above the dog, and we have the one pointing downwards, and to always trigger when the dog is, always sense when the dog is out there. So the first one I call motion human, and the second one I call motion PP. Let's just look at what happens. If we look at the first sensor here, the one that is motion human, that's a sensor pointing upwards. So this sensor will only detect human beings as it's above the level of my dog, so my dog wouldn't trigger it when it goes out there. If a motion is triggered here, I've set a variable which I just call flow.human to true. And that means basically that the system will now know that a human being is out there, and it will be active for 75 seconds, and then it will be reset to human being false. So I would know that within the last 75 seconds a human being has been out there, and I use this to avoid getting false triggers for when people are just going about in the hallway. The second one is motion PP, and motion PP will be at foot level, so it would detect human beings because our feet will of course touch the ground, but it would also detect the dog. Firstly here, it's the sensor itself. Incoming meaning, is something about to go down. It's just a question of asking, is presence detected? And if presence is detected, I've inserted a delay of 15 seconds. And that's because usually when someone rings a doorbell, or if we're going outside, my dog will be substantially faster than me, so it will run out there. And of course I don't want a notification every single time my dog runs out there if I'm just right behind her. So the 15-second delay enables me to actually get out there myself and also trigger the human being variable up here to stop the system from giving me a notification. Then I've inserted a switch node here. This is basically an if. I just ask a question. So it asks, is flow.human false? And that's the one we set up here. And if that is the case, it will resume. And the reason I'm asking if it's false, that is because if emotion has been detected here, I need to find out if a human being is also out there. So if the flow is false, that would mean that this hasn't been triggered up here, and thereby no human beings are in the hallway. So I would know that my dog is alone out there. In that case, only the floor level sensor would have been triggered. Had the human being sensor been triggered, then the variable would have been true. So this is only in case it's false. I would then resume in the flow. It would ask for a door status, and down here in the switch node it would ask, is the door open? Because if the door is open, I don't want to get a trigger either, because then again my dog would probably just be running in and out. So if the door is also closed, then let me just skip this one here, then it would then ask if I am home, because again I only want to get notifications while I'm at home, and that's just the Boolean sensor in Home Assistant which asks if I'm home. So if that is true, i.e. I am home, I will then find out if I'm sleeping or not, and I will not show you how my system finds out if I'm sleeping. I can show you that in another video, but basically if I'm sleeping it would send me a critical notification using Home Assistant, or otherwise it would just send me a regular notification, because I don't want it to just power through everything if I'm awake anyway. And you can see here that it will send a sticky note with the message, Una, which is the name of our dog, might need to pee, and also the time Una might need to pee, and I'll get that on my cell phone. And just to go back to this one, as I jumped ahead before, that is simply a limit on the number of messages I receive. So if the dog runs around out there back and forth, I don't want to get 100 messages. So I've inserted a delay node which can also limit the number of messages which is going through. And you can see that I set it to drop intermediate messages, saying that I will only receive one message per 15 minutes. So that's basically how I did it. Please leave a comment and share your coolest home optimization ideas. Well, this was all for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell button to receive notification. It would really mean so much to me. Thank you, and until then, bye-bye.